Hi, this is Leah Shaw, and this is my data-driven decision-making final project for EDTC615 based on Daniel Venable's book, Data into Action. I formerly was an elementary general music teacher for 7 years in Maryland. I'm currently a private voice and piano teacher through the Continuing Education Department at Garrett County Community College. But I completed this process through the lens of a public school teacher as I project to move back into the classroom. During the summer of 2017, I worked with a team of educators through the Venable's Data into Action steps. My team was Monique, Victoria, and I. We were team 3, and we all had different professional backgrounds. Monique is a pre-K instructional coach for pre-K teachers, and Victoria is a 3rd grade teacher. We completed the data meetings using real data, real assessments, real research, and real strategies. We communicated through our school's web portal, email, and text messages. But mostly we used Google Hangouts since that's where we conducted our live meetings. We used Google Docs for collaborating and cataloging our information. And it took us about a 10-week time period, but in real life it would take a few months because you would have the implementation process and reassessing the students. We focused on Victoria's data, which was 3rd grade data for reading. Before we had our data meetings, we established that we were a personal learning network and we were virtual. And we were sort of horizontal. Venables states that this data action plan isn't really designed for vertical teams, but it can be used. But it's mostly effective for horizontal teams. Most teams will be face-to-face because they'll probably be within the school system. However, somebody like me, a music teacher, maybe would do a virtual personal learning network because I wouldn't have another music teacher in the building with me. We established norms, and it's important for any PLN to have norms, which comes from the article Developing Teachers as Leaders. We start and end on time. We agreed to stay focused, to share ideas and active participation, to respect each other, to ask questions, and to bring our expertise. So data meetings 1 through 5. Number 1 is reviewing existing data and asking questions. We looked at each of our data, but then we settled on Victoria's data, specifically this piece right here, which was the main idea of informational text. We noticed and wondered, we came up with exploratory questions, and we determined what artifacts we would need for the next meeting. We focused for the rest of our data meetings on this exploratory question. Data meeting number 2 is triangulating the data. Because I've not taught 3rd grade, I did not have artifacts to bring, but I did research quite a bit to find different types of artifacts that would be useful. One that Victoria brought was examples of main idea test questions. You can click here to see our artifact tracking sheet if you want to see all of the details of all of the artifacts that we were triangulating during this meeting. Data number 3 was determining gaps and goals. This is where we determined what was learning gaps and what was instructional gaps. We set a learning goal, which was this one. And then we decided on an evaluation metric, which is a summative assessment. You can look at our very detailed Google Doc right here. Data meeting number 4, we actually conducted a strategy search prior to it, and we reviewed the strategies with the planning protocol. So I personally went to Pinterest and a few other websites looking for strategies for teaching main idea that included technology, and I made sure that they were very high on the planning protocol. And then I created a lesson plan We each developed different lesson plans that incorporated different technology. And then we developed a data action plan, which you can see right here in detail. And then data meeting number 5 is supposed to be evaluating success and determining next steps. This table right here is from Venable's book. And because this was a summer class, we did not have the opportunity to implement our strategies. So rather, our teacher had us peer review. So my partner was a second grade teacher, and she evaluated our process and determined that yes, it would probably be successful. And she gave us a few tips on what else we could implement into our action plan. Personal outcomes of this process. For me, I learned about the data process because I've never looked at data before. I learned about analyzing and triangulating and determining gaps and goals. I learned the difference between instructional gaps and learning gaps. I did not know there was a difference. I learned the importance of having a PLN before the meeting, but really I learned the importance of having virtual PLNs during the meeting. I was able to go online and look for research articles and strategies, technology tools, and lesson plans from different people's blogs and things. I also learned some new technology tools, some presentation tools. Google Drive was something I was familiar with, but I didn't use it very often, and now it actually has become my default for documents and spreadsheets. I also learned how to use generic tools like Plickers and Wordle and BrainPop. Those are tools that can go across different content areas and can be useful. One difficulty I had was coming up with artifacts because I've never taught third grade reading, and I think that actually would be a difficulty for me as a music teacher because thinking back on my classroom, I didn't have a lot of tangible artifacts. A lot of the assessments were in real time. It was performing on instruments or voice. So unless I had audio or video recordings or things of that nature, it would be a little more difficult to find specific artifacts. So where do we go from here? Moving forward, so what we've created really will have an impact on Victoria's students next year because we used real strategies with real technology to affect a real standard that her students this year were having difficulty with. For me personally, I can be a teacher leader outside of my content area because I'm going to have my background in instructional technology. I can help other content areas plans and help them integrate technology tools, since not all teacher teams will have somebody who specializes in technology integration. I can be a teacher leader within my content area. I could develop a music teacher team to make data-driven decisions for music across horizontal teams, so from elementary school to elementary school to elementary school, or even a little bit so in the vertical teams. Currently, I teach private students, but I am a resource for the music teachers in the K-12 system. I have been there for auditions, I've taught small groups, I've come and listened to choirs before they go off to competition, and I've been a resource for teachers whenever they have vocal technique questions. So if they do happen to embark on a data-driven process, I could evaluate their plans and strategies and really determine what can I do to support them with the students that I teach. And as I was reflecting on this, I also realized that I actually am a teacher. I might not be a K-12 teacher, but I do teach and my students do learn, and I do have artifacts and I do assess my students, and I could definitely see implementing a data-driven process into my private lessons. So I've met my goals for this semester. And for more information, below this presentation, I'm going to put the link for my Prezi presentation, which is what you're seeing now, because I'm screencasting, so I'm not clicking on all of the links. But you can move through my presentation through your own time, and you can look in great detail on all of the links that I've included. And also a YouTube playlist of all of our Team 3's data meetings. So this will give you videos of the compilations of our data meetings. Thank you.